The data-driven decisions, I think, will be a bit more easily accessible, and we don't have to decipher the information that we already have. So a lot of information narrows down to exactly what is related to KPIs and just focusing on exactly that problematic area. But we can go back, is it marketing or is it GM or is it employee handling, whatever. Information that will come handy out of this in next 3 to 5 years with the technology will be not finance, but non-financial element, because finance hopefully would have been a bit more easier to understand from the strategic perspective.
Before we start today's episode, I want to address a common challenge I have observed with FP&A professionals. While Excel skills are abundant, many are not fully tapping into Power BI's capabilities to enhance their financial analysis skills. With over a decade of experience in FP&A consulting and countless training sessions conducted, my most loved training by FP&A professionals, hands down, has been my Introduction to Power BI for Financial Analysts. So, for my loyal podcast listeners, I am giving you free access to it today. Check out the link in the description below to upgrade your FP&A skills today. Thank you. Hello and welcome to FP&A Unboxed Podcast, where we dive into real stories and challenges and wins for finance leaders. I am Tejas Parikh, the founder of ABCL and basically your host at FP&A Unboxed. Today we will be talking with Manoj. Manoj has completed a master's in computer science and business analytics from Harvard Business School Online, with a background rooted in family of entrepreneurs. Manoj brings a holistic perspective to business, one that goes beyond finance to encompass strategy, technology, and operation. Known for combining deep financial expertise with a passion for understanding the full business landscape, he offers valuable insight into how businesses can align financial strength with long-term growth and innovation. Welcome to the show, Manoj.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tejas, for this lovely introduction.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. I think it'll be quite interesting because I think you've gone through a few interesting changes recently as a business. So it'll be lovely to, learn a bit more about it and talk about the challenges you face and stuff like that, so that, we can actually help our viewers understand where and how they can transform their business. So let's start with your transformation story, right? You recently shared that implementing Power BI and Aimplan has been a game changer for your organization. So can you walk us through a before and after? What was life like before implementation and what truly has changed? How does it really make a difference to your day-to-day business?
Sure, of course. I guess before actually I start saying anything, I must want to tell the viewers why to continue watching this video or the questions that we're going to go through. Just mainly 2 reasons. As they just mentioned, it's 26 years of experience that I've gone through with the finance and Master of Computer Science as well. So I've loved the combination of IT and the finance. So that understanding really helped me to excel in my career. And when I met Tejas and his team, I think that was a game changer actually. What I'm going to go through, that will be more like a tools. So what Power BI is doing and Aimplan. But I think we just need to understand from a human perspective that those tools are there. A lot of people can do a lot of things, right? But going to the right person makes a big, big difference. So that is how I just want to start my, before I say how it was game changer to us. But I think I was just lucky to find Tejas and his team through LinkedIn somehow, and they have been miraculous to our company. And by the way, before I continue, I must say this is not a paid promotion kind of thing. And the only reason actually I have agreed to this podcast is so that I can let other people know the difference in going to the genuine person. And sometimes, there's a big banners and big names over there and then end up saying, God, I've wasted my 1 year and who is the right person to find? Here, is the right person for that.
Thank you so much, Manoj. That is really kind of you to say that out loud, right? I mean, really appreciate the support.
Thank you. I think you all deserve that, to be honest, because what you have done for me, hopefully we'll able to relay that message. But I just wanted to make it very clear for the audience, what they're going to get is a real game changer. Right. Okay. So what was the difference before and after? So pre-implementation, I think there was a lot of Excel sheets, and I'm sure everyone must be aware of those Excel version 1 to millionth version. And when you actually want to relay that message externally or internally, you always had to think like, God, which was the version that I've shared? especially recently when we just went through some of the data loss for a small period, and I was literally struggling to find which was the right Excel version. Only if we were on Aimplan and Power BI, that would have been much easier for me because everything was available online, not just to me, but to the board members as well. So yeah, I think Excel versions, to be honest, moving away. So Excel is not going to disappear from our lives, but how to manage that tool to our benefit has what I've seen the big difference in Power BI / Aimplan, because Power BI is more like a pivot table where you can just enter, it fetches the data from somewhere else. Aimplan comes into play where it can edit the data, which means not just the management information pack, which is historical, but the forecasting tool. And that is where Aimplan comes into play, and they work together really, really well.
Thank you so much, Manoj. But so how did your ways of working change, right? So how, if you can walk us through like your discussion with, say, for example, your COO or things like that. So as a finance person talking to your commercial operations person, how did your conversation start changing?
Yeah, so in the past, it was like just going back and forth with Excel, saying, this is what we have done. This was Excel version 1 and all that. Whereas now in Power BI and Aimplan, we've got certain systems and we've changed our process based on the scenarios. So those scenarios are basically saying, we've set up according to certain scenarios, best case scenario, worst case scenario, and, the more realistic kind of thing, those 3 scenarios. And also saving certain data where if we have shared anything externally and we want to lock that, so we have that easiness to lock. And if we had to change anything, all we have to do is we've worked really hard to create all of those Excel formulas at the background of this Aimplan. And actually, a consultancy team that kind of completely transformed Aimplan from just the off-shelf to tailor-made for us. So all of those formulas were there at the background. We call it as the drivers. All now I have to do is just go to the drivers. So say 5% increase in any specific year. I just don't have to think about the formulas anymore because that's embedded at the background. And unlike Excel, where I can just go and override the numbers very easily, which I used to do, and I was culprit of that. Now this is standardized approach, and I cannot make those changes where later on I find out, God, what was the differences like? And why did I put that hard-coded number over there?
Yeah, no, that is important, right? Because you will also not remember what your hard coding is. And again, we find a lot of times when people leave, their successors have no idea what the hell has happened. That is the tricky one, isn't it?
Correct. That's that pivotal word you used when people leave. So I joined this company 2 years ago, and I wanted to make a lot of changes in there, especially to bump up their finance the way we were doing. This company is very, very advanced tech when it comes to care. Finance was something where we're not there where I wanted to be. And when the person who's left looking at his financial model, some of them, they were hard-coded numbers. And, God, it was just like, God, where are these numbers coming from? Or very interlinked formulas from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 different tabs and sheets. So that was mind-boggling for me to decipher. But once it was deciphered, I put it on Excel. With Tejas' help, then we put that as a drivers into Aimplan, and then that thing was very easy.
So what were the biggest pain points that pushed you to investing in transforming your reporting and planning process? So, what was your biggest, if you don't mind sharing, some of the biggest disasters you had, which you were like, oh my God, I need to change this now?
I mean, the biggest thing for us was, it's first of all, for me personally, as a head of finance, just to understand, what business needs are. And with this dynamic world, things are changing so drastically. And this sector, I've realized, is very complex. So once you understand, so there is a point 1, 2, 3, 4. So you follow through, then it's easy to understand. But by nature, the care homes, they are a bit complex to understand. And we have, say, 4 care homes. So it was not easy for the management to understand, from the consolidation perspective, what was the overall profit. So they'll go to company number 1, 2, 3, 4, and head office, and all amalgamated. So with this, the first thing I did was consolidation. Consolidation is done in a beautiful manner in here. I must say that, where it just helps us to do the forecasting and creating any specific records that we need to create. So I guess that is what helped us a lot.
Okay, cool. You mentioned that management can now spot variances instantly and take immediate action. So can you share a real life example which has led to actually your CEO or CEO making a decision like, oh, okay, let's look at this and let's change how we are doing stuff?
No, definitely. Once again, a game changer in here as well. So 5 companies, and it was easy to compare like-to-like performances. That was a make-shaper and more contextual decision. And it just became a lot of clarity into the commercial planning side. So the board sat down, and it was very easy for them to kind of compare with the performances from company to company, and even month on month, or last year to this year. So just 1 April to last April, or maybe last 3 Aprils, because in this industry, we have a price uplift in April. And it's really good to see where our occupancies a year ago or maybe 3 years ago, and bringing that information in here that helped us to understand where the pitfalls were and just focus on that straight away.
Perfect. Cool. So how has the ability of the group to analyze different entities commercially and strategically improved, right? Well, you've got 5 I know you've got 5 companies, so, the 5 companies, and you're most likely about to grow as well. I'm not sure if that is out there, but yeah, so you're about to grow from that 5 to 6 companies now. So from that perspective, right? I mean, as you grow, and again, in the future, who knows? You may go and acquire another 3, another 5 care homes. So as you grow, how do you think the group's ability to analyze these entities commercially and strategically has improved?
Yeah, from me, I like the holistic approach, 360 degree, right? So grow and exit strategy for me personally goes hand in hand. And it's helping in both element, be it internal customers or external, because I've always felt, in the part of value chain, the finance is a team which have to provide service to others. And that is how, I think that will be a game changer when the company grows, and we've created a standardized approach. And we've done forecasting for one new company from scratch, which basically means when it grows in next 18 months to 24 months, and when we reach our optimum level of occupancy, that shape, form, template will be really helpful for the other companies as well. So we'll just have to copy, paste onto that. And exit strategy as well, something similar. It just helps just to understand and putting some certain scenarios internally and externally, and just lock them.
Of course, right? I mean, businesses M&A goes on in businesses all the time. So that is a part and parcel that finance needs to prepare for. Having a structured approach helps. You can then do it more consistently. That way. Anyway, so in every transformation, there are quick wins, and there are also moments that didn't go as per plan. I think I know this one for you. What has been one standout win and one challenge that your FP&A transformation journey had so far?
I'll say instant variance analysis. So because we don't have to wait for reports anymore. That was the biggest win for us personally. Challenge, I think with any company, any sector, challenge is always people. Whenever there's any change, it's not being welcomed all the time in a unanimous tone. So that is something I'll say, those are the challenges. Another challenge, which I'll say technically from this side, which was out of our control, when certain companies don't like giving you the data for whatever reason, even if they're current companies, right? We're not saying we're going to get rid of them, but the moment you ask certain questions that we're going to integrate with API, I don't know, something happens. I think they get scared. And they feel like, you're going to leave. So they're very closed in that sense. So getting that data out from the API was the biggest challenge. But once they were a bit more comfortable saying, we're going to leave them, that became easier, but that wasted our 1 month.
No. So that's, again, I have said this repeatedly on podcast before as well, and I'm going to say it one more time. People think they own their data, but they don't. It took 1 month to get data out of a particular provider, which clearly categorically shows that, honestly, to get your data out from your SaaS solutions is not always easy, and therefore it is worth the hard work to put it across in your own space. Now you have access to the data permanently, right? Now you're not going to lose access to that, which is important. So looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in terms of stakeholder management, technology choices, or change management?
So one thing if I answer I would have done differently was to hire you earlier. From the strategist perspective, end user, and just rethinking again. I do like, as I said, 360-degree approach, holistic approach as well. And I did bring the end users much earlier so that they can understand. And I think I can't think of anything else where I can say, I could have done anything differently because things were out of our control. So that is still out of our control. We brought all of the end users way earlier so they don't feel left out. And yeah, the only thing I think was finding you earlier. Because to be honest, for 6 months, actually, I was trying to find the right partnerships because I don't treat you as a supplier. So you're not a supplier, right? Where you come in and you kind of go that easily. Come in, you understand the business. You understand the finance thing. So holistic approach, finance bit, and the IT comes afterwards, which is Power BI and Aimplan. So bringing all of them together, I think that's a very niche kind of understanding, which not every company, I must say, they understand, because I've gone through with some unsuccessful ventures as well, some less successful in the past, in the last 26 odd years. This one, by far, I must say, very successful, and your efforts where you go extra length was really remarkable.
Thank you so much, Manoj. Thanks a lot. So with FP&A automation freeing up time, how does your finance team plan to spend their time differently? Are you seeing more focus on business partnering, scenario planning, or strategy? What are you now assuming this solution has freed up some of your time and your team's time? Where are you deploying that time and resource?
I was very clear, it has to be strategic and planning from my side. But when I joined the company, that was not the case. Because I think my predecessor was highly involved in a lot of things. And I must say, there's a lot of culprit I've seen over the years where once as a head of finance, you know everything. In your 2 decades of career, you have built up so many things. You have seen from scratch, from junior accountant to the head. So sometimes you feel like, I've developed a shortcut or a scenario where I can do those better things. And that is where the trap is. We start entering in the data ourselves and someone's not here. And then before we realize, a team is dependent on you to do certain tasks. And then you fail to do your role where you were kind of put in as a head of finance. I think head of finance role simply is just making sure that planning is there, forecasting is there, and business vision is being seen. So exactly what they want. Then the strategy comes into play. This is where, head of finance comes into play as well, and help communicate that from top down and then from down to top as well, with if there's any issues or any problems. And that is where my role comes into play, making sure that my team is happy. And if they have any questions, queries, I answer them with the automation, take away all of the laborious tasks out. So say PDF editor was something I used a long time ago, which was really helpful. Before, people were just entering all the invoices, punching in manually. So through that, invoice comes in, goes through the system, goes to a specific email. From the email goes to the finance system, and then all of the data, because it was AI learning, it just put everything over there in a draft mode. So all AP at that time had to do was just look like check. Yes, I'm happy with everything. After a couple of months of AI training, so the system was just kind of generating everything on automation mode. Apart from a new supplier invoice comes into play, then there was a bit more manual, but that was one-off.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right. And again, the key word there, what you use, right? Minimize the manual effort so that people can focus much more on the strategic, which is critical. What you add value with is strategic. Value is not added with manual labor, is it? So where do you see the role of finance evolving in your organization next 3 to 5 years with digital tools like Power BI, Aimplan, and more?
Yeah, I think with a tool like Power BI and Aimplan, the financial planning and the charge and agility, innovation, and the data-driven decisions, I think will be a bit more easily accessible, and we don't have to decipher the information that we already have. So a lot of information narrows down to exactly what is related to KPIs and just focusing on exactly that problematic area. But we can go back, is it marketing or is it GM or is it employee handling, whatever. So the information that will come handy out of this in the next 3 to 5 years with with the technology will be not finance, but non-financial element, because finance hopefully would have been a bit more easier to understand from the strategic perspective. So it's easy to make decisions and not just spending hours and hours of talking about data.
See, this is again very important, right? I mean, I'd like to highlight what you just said. You just said basically, yes, finance will definitely be sorted, but we will actually now be able to talk to people outside finance and have real operational conversations more easily. I mean, that is pivotal, isn't it? I mean, finance department, what you call connected planning or, extended FP&A or whatever you call it. I mean, that is essentially at the heart of the discussion, isn't it?
Absolutely right here.
You kindly shared positive feedback with us, right? From a CFO's perspective, what makes our external partner great when taking a financial transformation? So, what do you think are key elements you or CFO like yourself should be looking at when they decide to partner with somebody for a transformation journey?
Think responsiveness, deep system knowledge, and a collaborative mindset. If these three things are there, then you can do anything. Then you can do the miracles. If any one is missing, then it's going to be a bit problematic. Like collaborative mindset. If you have, like liaison with you, Tejas, and your team at Akshar Business Consultancy, it's important that you guys understand exactly what our requirements are. You may have, hundreds of clients. But if I'm coming to you and you fail to understand exactly what I need and you give me some other solution, so that's a failure venture for me personally. So these three things I'm going to repeat is responsiveness, deep system knowledge. So you understand your system inside out, and collaborative mindset. Collaborative mindset, I think we have given a few examples in the past how you help us making certain changes to the reporting, to how the process were done, the data moving away from Excel. Deep system knowledge, I think you transformed Aimplan to what it was before off the shelf coming to us and made it tailor-made for us. That shows your perseverance going back to those guys as well, saying, look, my client needs this. So is there any opportunity? And I think they have been very helpful by making a lot of adjustments and changes. And that has been really helpful to us.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's what we are here for, right? Right. So, hey, as you continue to evolve your finance function, what skills and mindset do you believe is what FP&A professionals need to thrive in this current environment?
Yeah, I guess curiosity with what is happening in the world, and adaptability. And you have to have a business acumen along with that as well. So what I mean by that is what is happening in the world, AI is changing. So when I was doing my Master of Computer Science, I remember I learned something over there. So 1 year in computer science is equal to 100 human years. So it was moving that fast. And with this AI world, that's even maybe 1,000 years now. So we need to keep up with that pace and just keep an eye on the market, where it's moving, and just, up your game based on that. It's more about the storytelling these days. It's not about the numbers anymore. You need to know your numbers. That's a foundation thing, of course. But then storytelling and influencing those things and bringing clarity to the complexity of these numbers.
Okay. So now my 3 standard questions, right? I mean, which I'm asking all my guests. So where do you think the future of FP&A lies in next 3 to 5 years? Yes, we get AI, but apart AI, what do you think is the future of FP&A in next 3 to 5 years?
Cool. No, I like that how you have tailor-made initial questions for us and now standard questions. This is really good that you've done some research behind this interview or the podcast as well. I think this is a good approach. Future FP&A is something which I've touched base in our last 20 minutes of conversation. Because if you see the strategic nerve center, that is what FP&A is becoming now. So it's more like connecting the dots across the businesses. It's the speed, it's a different scenarios agility, and playing a central role in decision making. This is how I say, the future.
So what is one thing that most FP&A functions need help with today? Because they are trying to become strategic finance business partners, right? So what is one thing you think most FP&A functions in your 26 years, I think they need help with? What do you think?
In this day and age, when everyone, businessman, non-businessman, housewife, children, they are just keep on swiping I'll say up and down, not left or right. So those swiping, 2-3 hours disappear and they don't realize where the time has gone. And if you ask anyone within the team, external team, or even internal or the external stakeholders, sometimes they'll say, the information we need was yesterday. So they come with, we just want like ASAP. ASAP is most overused word. So they've started using yesterday information, which basically means speed. If they need something, if the data is there, then why can't you produce that information?
Okay, now this is a career focused question. So somebody, some of our listeners are new, they are trying to get into FP&A, or they are who are new to FP&A and things like that. So what is the one skill or certification you think they should be looking to apply?
Simplifying complexity. I'm sure every industry, every business has its own complexities. Understanding that, you've been working with them and simplifying that, where with a click of buttons, they can get certain reports. And to be honest, that has been proven in my case as well, where there's some complex reports, it was taking a very long time. And now with a click of buttons, that is ready. And now I can spend more time helping business to achieve their goals.
Cool. Any closing thoughts, Manoj, on this whole conversation? Anything you'd like to share with our listeners as closing thoughts?
Well, all I'll say is, maybe, Akshar Business Consultancy, support them with whichever way you can, because when they come out, they spend a lot of time and efforts, and you will see yourself as a game changer once you'll see this. Doesn't matter how small the project you do with them or the big. I've done 2 projects with you, Tejas, now. First one was tiny. It was based on Excel sheet because I was trying to build, if we do go into technology, how it will be happening, and wanted to bring you into that conversation where you have better understanding of the business, which you put all of your wholeheartedness in that. It's a very tiny project. And that is giving more confidence in you. And now with this big project that is at the verge of finishing now, 99% done. And I've done a soft launch as well. And board members are really pleased with that. And I was told if 50% of what we are saying is done, they'll be happy. I think we're going to hit 100%. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Manoj. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your thoughts with us. I really appreciate that.